My goal today is to teach you something about gardening, and this is the Gardening Homesteading Skills Global Gardening Collaboration. I'm loving how everything looks. These old seeds that I had in a Ziploc bag, I think they could possibly be zucchinis, but whatever, there's some kind of squash or pumpkin, that I know. But everything's looking good. Even the California poppies that are coming up in there, and I don't know if those are California. That's a mixture of just seeds. I was trying to think if they're wildflower seeds, I think. My cucumbers are coming right along. I need to come, whoops, I turned that around, I didn't mean to. My red vein sorrel I need to come out and trim. Oh, and I must have a garlic in there that I didn't know I had. Look at that, I have a scape. But I've been gone for several days. And then the several days before that, I didn't really get out much because it was like way cold, way rainy and icky. But look how these have grown. It's like, I am amazed. Every year I've kind of lamented that other people's gardens look lush and beautiful. Mine grow kind of small. I do get some harvest, but I don't remember them ever being this beautiful. And maybe they feel that way to me because last year I lost most of my gardening season due to my leg injuries. But look at these beautiful plants. I picked those peppers that were on those pepper plants. And down here I need to pick this. It'll finish ripening inside. That's a tiny Tim. And being outdoors here, it's making the tomatoes just a little bit larger than it did in the house. This one right here is my secret seed. And these are peppers. I believe this is a tiny Tim also. Oh, and here's a plant that has a blossom on it already. These don't have blossoms yet, but they look like they're going too soon. Oh, and this one has a blossom. I'm sure the wind and the bird and the insects will pollinate it, but I'll help a little bit. Interestingly, the things I planted in this smaller pot that also has the other plant growing in there with it, seems to be doing better than the ones that are planted in the pot by themselves. Some of them back there you can see didn't survive, but we'll have a few. The grapevine back there is looking good. This is looking good. I have sunflowers coming up in there, and sunflowers over here, and the tomatoes in these two totes have blossoms. I'm not pruning any of them, and the reason is because my labels got misplaced, and I don't know which ones are indeterminate and which ones are determinate. So I'm just going to let them all do their thing, and I'll know what kind of a tomato is when I get a tomato. These sweet potatoes are looking good. Those, the ones that are surviving, are looking okay. Everything is so green and lush. And like I told you in one of my last videos, my broccoli, they loved that cold weather. They're not going to be so happy this coming week. It's supposed to start getting hot. My potatoes look like they are just about ready to harvest. I'll wait a few days. That, and I've got one over there in the ground, comfrey, and I think this one might be a comfrey also. I'll have to do my what's this app or picture this app and for sure. But everything, I'm pleased with how everything's looking. So my question, and I'll give you what I think my answer is, why is my garden looking better, to me anyway, this year than it has in years past? Is it because I'm growing in totes? I don't think so, although that could play into it. Some of it's the weather. We have had, well, we had some warm weather, and then we've had a streak of cool weather. And I was thinking that in the cool weather, we've had nights down in the 40s that my peppers and tomatoes weren't going to like it. But you saw what, if you compare what they look like now to what they looked like in previous videos, you'll see that I think they did like it. And it is going to get hot this next week, probably the week after too, and I can't see projected weather out further than that. But I think summer probably is finally here. The weather is catching up to the calendar, I guess you could say. But there is one other thing that I know has to be making a difference. In years past, I've fertilized, but kind of haphazardly, like occasionally when I did planting, I would put some fertilizer in, sometimes not. And then maybe once or twice during the summer, I would put some fertilizer on, usually a fish fertilizer, a few times. But I've noticed that some other gardeners have a routine. Some gardeners will fertilize like every 2 weeks or every once a month, or they'll put it on their calendar and do it on a certain day. One of the videos, one of the channels that I watch very regularly, she also lives in Oregon, in the high desert, and I'm thinking that she's maybe a little more high desert than we are, but we're fairly high. I think we're considered high desert, but our temperature, we're in the same growing zone. I'm in 6B, she's in 6, also in 6. Hers used to be 5 and then it went to 6. And that is Garden Answer. She lives in Ontario, Oregon, and we're in Athena, Oregon. Athena is near Pendleton, Oregon, if you look on a map. We're halfway between Pendleton, Oregon and Walla Walla, Washington. And Ontario is over next to the Idaho border. So Ontario, and then she's got all the good-sized towns leading to Boise. Boise's not far from them at all. Anyway, they fertilize every week. I thought, well, I know if you fertilize too much, you can hurt your plants instead of doing what you think fertilizer is supposed to do. But what I did, I set an alarm on my phone for every Sunday. And this week, because we had a lot going on the weekend, I missed Sunday, so I did it today, which is Monday morning early. Got out there before it got too hot. And I've been fertilizing every week. So I'm making sure that I don't fertilize too heavily when I fertilize each week. And I don't use the same kind of fertilizer each week. One week I'll use fish fertilizer. Another week I'll sprinkle bone meal around things. And another week heaven forbid, I'm using some Miracle Grow. And I also have some all-purpose fertilizer that, to me, it looks like Miracle Grow. It's still that funky blue color. And you have to put it in water. So I think it's the equivalent of Miracle Grow. And yeah, I know it's not organic, but it's what I have. And then some weeks I'll use some blood meal. And what did I use? Today I used an all-purpose fertilizer. It was 677 in the NP whatever, the minerals that are in it. 677. So that still gives it some nitrogen. Nitrogen, I think, is high in nitrogen, like the fish fertilizer. That helps the foliage grow lush and green and beautiful. And I remember growing up, my daddy used fish fertilizer, especially his corn, but I think he probably used it on everything. And his gardens were always very productive. But once things start fruiting, pull back on the nitrogen and make sure that the other two, like the 6 is the nitrogen, the 7 and 7 are the other two, potassium and the other two. Because those are what helps you with the fruit. Actually, they help with rooting too. So I'm thinking that's what's making a difference, is the fact that I'm fertilizing every week. And I don't do huge doses of fertilizer. It's a light version. But just enough to kind of, I know my corn and any of my squashes, they like to be fed. So hopefully it's going to make a difference there. I know the tomatoes probably would have grown okay without any fertilizer, but I love the way they're lush and green and beautiful. And they're starting to blossom. It's interesting, the ones on one side of the garden and the ones in some of the pots are blossoming before the ones that look bushier and greener than on the other side of the garden. They don't have blooms yet, but I'm sure they will. I did harvest a handful of arugula, and like I said, those 2 peppers that I had out there. That plant that pepper, the green pepper, was on, it had given me 2 peppers during the course of time that it was in the house, and they turned red before I picked them. And I kept waiting for it to turn red outdoors, but it didn't seem to be doing it. So I thought, I'm just going to go ahead and pick it, because that's one thing with peppers. You don't have to wait until they're red, yellow or red or whatever color they're going to be. You can pick them when they're green, and they still will taste good. So that's my tip for today. As you go through your garden, set a schedule for fertilizing. Make sure your plants are properly fed. Not too much, not too little, but very regularly. Regular fertilizer, regular watering schedule, and your gardens will start looking hopefully the way you want them to. I'm anxious for next year when I can have more garden areas on my property, because I will be able to garden in more spots like I did last year and the year before. Well, last year started to. The year before. I know I keep telling you that, but I know by next summer I will be able to get out and do more than I'm doing this summer. But I'm so thankful, and I've told you that before too, so thankful that I'm able to do what I'm doing. The other thing I'm thankful for right now is you. I'm thankful for you because you're watching my video. I love to make these videos. And no, I don't get paid for it. Not yet, anyway. I don't have enough subscribers. I don't have enough watch hours. If you share my video with your friends, tell them to subscribe to me. If I get more subscribers, more watch hours, maybe eventually I'll get paid for what I do. But right now, I do it because I enjoy it. And even then, I will do it because I enjoy it. This is not a job. It is, I guess you'd call it a hobby. It's a passion. And I love doing it. And I love sharing it. Would I garden if I wasn't making YouTube videos? Probably. Because I've pretty much my whole life had some sort of a garden. Although some years it was just a few flowers here and there. I haven't always been able to have a real garden, but I would say the most of my life I've had some sort of a garden going. But I learn more about gardening every year. And I like sharing a little bit, a little portion of what I know with you. And I love that you share with me when I watch your videos too. So let's go ahead and have a wonderful day. May God's love and blessings surround you. And yuppers, I'll see you on my next video. I hope you enjoyed this one. Like I said earlier, like, subscribe, share, comment. I'll respond in some manner to your comments as long as YouTube shows me that I have comments. I notice sometimes I don't always get notified of the comments, and if I go in and look, it doesn't show me all of them. I suppose if I did all my work on my computer, it might show me, but I tend to just use my mobile device, my phone. My phone app, Facebook app, doesn't show me it doesn't show me everything sometimes. So if I miss your comment, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to miss it. If I see your comment, I will either comment or give you a love and a like. Until next time, I need to stop blabbering at you. And I'll see you next time.